Okay, welcome back, and we're going to start modeling the nose here. A couple of things I want to kind of look at is, efficiency in our modeling, like steps that I'm taking, could there be better ways? But if I just go to my loop tool, you can see that I need to kind of separate where the sides of my nose are going to begin here. And in my edge loop tool, I could just kind of look here and just create loops on either side of my nose there. And that looks great, and some of you are going to say, well, that kind of creates extra detail back here that we don't need. And instead what I could have done was gone back, let me just go back, oops, select here, oops. What I could have done is use my multi-cut tool and just kind of cut around the areas I need. The problem is that there's a lot of detail to get into, and I find it takes less time just to go in and I just like selecting those edges there, hitting delete. I'm not hitting control delete because I'm just deleting the edges right now. I'm going to go back, double click and select those edges now and go control delete to delete edges and vertices, and I can right click to go into vertex mode to see where I've left the vertices, and they're up here. And that's okay because I'll be fixing those later. I'm going to delete really these as well, just those. So control delete, control delete. Okay, and I'm just going to do some multi-cut picture framing to get this out of quad mode. I'm holding my shift key down to get the even division of my edges, snapping there, and then I can multi-cut back to here. So picture framing. So these are in quads. I have two triangles here I don't want. So I might select that edge, and I'm going to go control delete. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 quads, and I've quad this out nicely to start my nose. Now what's going to happen is if I go back and create a loop for detail, it's just going to simply stay within the parameters of my face here. Okay. Cool. So let's look at modeling our nose. I'm going to, if I go back to my front view, this is kind of on the edge of my, along the side of my ridge of my nose, but not really. It's a little thinner at the top there. So I think what I'll do is look at a few of these vertices and just move them in to be the top of my nose. Same here. This will be the top of my nose, or will it be the bottom of my nose? Let's make it kind of right at that kind of apex or ball of my nose, and I think that'll work fine. And now I'm just going to add my loop just close to the side of my nose there, and I can select these edges and move them back to form the side of my nose. Grab these vertices, just move that there for now. Actually, this will be more about forming the cheek. I'm going to scale these to make them symmetrical. just moving these down to form a nose. Now these have gone obviously too far, so I'll just move them back up to about here, and that means that this should be down here. I get a little obsessive compulsive sometimes about some of these things, and I just find it easier to get the topology right early while I'm working away rather than later. If it's here, I'll work on it. Okay, I said that this would be the kind of apex of the nose, so let's do that. So we've got the start of a nose, and it's, you know, working out all right. Just gonna take these in a bit. Back to my front view and see how these are working out. See how, you know, this is kind of already naturally forming what my eye socket would be. So even though we're modeling eyes, I'm just going to take these back up. Take these in. And I'll take these, kind of fall in a bit naturally there. Better out. So really, quite quickly forming that nose, we get some great stuff happening. This is still, you know, a quad. What I could do, and I think I will do, is I don't want this detail in this lip down here just yet, so into edge mode. I'm just going to select that one edge, hit delete, and then double click to get those edges around to the back of the mouth. Hit Control Delete to delete edge and vertex. And I'm just going to merge these two vertices. And this is a tool that used to be available in 2014 and I loved, and they kind of took it out of the shelf tool, but it's still in 2015. It's just a bit hidden. So I'm just selecting my vertex. I'm holding my Shift key down, right mouse, and there now we should see this merge vertice, and then down to merge vertex tool. I'll show you that again. So it's Shift, right mouse, merge vertices, so I'm arrow up, that brings up a submenu to the merge vertex tool. Now I can just select one and then snap it to the other, and that's so powerful and fast for us to work, but for some reason it's hidden in 2015 and I haven't had a chance to check out 2016 to see if it's still there or not. So you can see we're getting weird displays here. That's because it maybe should have taken symmetry off. I got the wrong vertices, that's why. So let's do this by, let's try this again to see if it yes, because of the symmetries turned on, it's not doing both. So that's my mistakes. Let's go back here, symmetry off, back to that tool. There we go. Now it's working. And just while I'm here, I'm going to turn symmetry back on. Close that. So I've got my nose, and This is a triangle. How can I fix that? There's a nice little trick here. Mesh tools, insert edge loop, and you'll find that as you learn the language of modeling everything in quads, that there's tricks that really will help you out. And this inserting this edge loop, you see how it stops there because it's a triangle. But now because we've added this loop, the front of our nose is still in quads, but the corner here is actually like a 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a 4-sided quad now. So we've fixed that. So I'm just going to hit my vertice. Now I can go in and model a bit more detail for my nose. So let's look at nostrils. I'm going to right click and go into face mode, just selecting the sides of these faces, and I'm just going to use my extrude tool and extrude these out. I'm going to go into my scale tool, and I'm going to, whoops, may have to this is a problem, scaling the entire head. So let me just undo to get pre-extrude. Extrude that out, take the thickness out, and I'll do the offset instead of the scale. Maybe take that thickness to 0.3, and that's good for now. Deselect. And I'm going to just hit save. I've got this bulbous thing happening in the top of my nose here. I'll have to come back and fix that, but it's okay for now because I need that detail. If I go to my side view, see that bulbous is kind of more or less shaping my, not my nose, but my head, so I'll just have to add some more detail to the skull up here to get that to work. Alright. So I've got my nose, everything is still in quads. You can see it gets some weird shading sometimes. It just means it's trying just to calculate. You know, it wants to add some triangles here. If I go to my vertex mode, I can see that there's no stray vertices, everything's nicely quadded out. And it's here that I want to make my nostrils. So I'm going to select the base of that nose here and just move that in to match the base of my nostril here. The same underneath my nose, I can bring that up. This is going to be kind of top of my nose. And just rounding that out. Should round out nicely. Just getting this to match my nose a bit better. So I'm just kind of making way for my nostrils. So this face here will extrude. This side here can be, or will be, more of a rounded shape, and I can see here this should actually come more about being the side of our nose here, so I just want to get the overall dimensions of my nose because it'll be less work into Mudbox, but I think we're getting there. It should come down to kind of form where my nostril's starting, so I can bring this down a bit. Okay, we're pretty good here. I can come back and adjust these later. If I hit 3, I can see what that mode's going to look like, and you can see we're pretty close to what my nose is going to be. Into face mode, now I can select these faces, and this is going to be my nostrils. Just hit my extrude. This time I'm going to take my offset in. Let's try 0.1. Hit my select tool just to get out of that, and I'm going to hit my extrude tool a second time, and this time I'm going to move that in and take that offset in just a bit. So let me just say, oops, 0.01 should be fine. And I could have added divisions when I did that first extrude. Probably would have been smart, but really what I want, I'm just going to add. Now you can see how that nose is starting to shape up. And I have enough really to work with for Mudbox. I'm just going to Control-Alt-S to save this. And when we come back, we'll start kind of laying out the eyes in detail.